Okay, my name's Manny, and I play guitar for Dissolved Horizons, and we're going to go through my rig. We're going to do a little rig rundown. I've been wanting to do this since forever. So, this is my room. There we go. That's my little, I did some recordings here. Alright, so let's start off. Let's do with guitars. Alright, so first off we have best for first, I guess. This is my Blackwater Custom 7. Currently loaded with a DiMarzio Crunch Lab and a Seymour Duncan Jazz. I'm actually have different pickups on order. I'm going to put in a Seymour Duncan Pegasus and Sentient, see how that goes. Apparently they work well with like ash bodies, so I'm going to do that. Then we got Mayonnaise Regis 7. I believe this one was custom as well. None of these guitars were customized by me. I just buy them used. It's fucking beautiful. It's got that trans white or blue jean or whatever with these really cool inlays on it. I got it for pretty cheap, so I always snag deals. And that one's loaded with bare knuckle aftermaths. Those things sound fucking awesome. After that, I got my workhorse. This is my Ibanez Premium 7-string RG 927QM, bunch of other stupid letters. Anyway, it's a really good guitar. And then I dropped the DiMarzio Crunch Lab and Liquefier in that one. And this is my main guitar. I took that one on deployment with me. After that, I got some of my 6-strings. I have Ibanez Prestige. This is just a standard S model. Really, really good guitar. Like that stays in tune extremely well, and it's really good for like soloing and stuff. I'm not sure what pickups there are. I'm pretty sure they're stock, whatever Ibanez puts in them. I think they're like maybe Evo, but they sound awesome, and this is a really good guitar for solos. After that, I have my LTD EC1000. It was, I believe I bought all of these guitars used. This one I found, it looked brand new, but it was used. It was one of the only LTDs to have Seymour Duncans in our passive pickups, and I'm a passive pickup guy, so I picked it up, and it was my main guitar for a really long time before I switched over to 7-strings. And yeah, solid guitar. And then this one, this is a extremely heavy LTD EC400. I'm not sure what AT stands for. I'm pretty positive it's just all mahogany body. This thing is just so heavy. But that's why I like it. It's super heavy physically, and then it actually sounds just as heavy as it actually is. There's no contours on this thing. It's you know, it's the 400 model or whatever. I originally bought it for drop tunings, and that's still kind of what I use it for, like Mastodon kind of stuff. We've been through a huge Mastodon phase, and so that's kind of what I use that for. And then I guess speaking of Mastodon, that brings me over to this thing. Thanks to Brent Hines and for their marketing skills. I went out and bought a Thunder 30, which is you know, a 30-watt amp, but this thing is so loud. Like, you can see where my volumes are, 1 and 1.5. This thing gets so loud. And there's a 112 cab. I have another 112 cab somewhere else. One of them has a vintage 30 in it, the other one has a Celestion 75 in it, or something of that nature. Super loud amp, super good. Great for like classic rock or like sludge, you know, Mastodon style. I love it. But I don't really use that for the band. Got that little practice amp that got me through deployment. And then over here is my main amp. So the EVH 5153, standard 5150, just like the first two models, except EVH now. I just recently switched over to using amp distortion. I've always been like a pedal board guy, and for as long as I can remember, I've been using this particular pedal, the Black Star HT Dual, and that's been my main distortion for several years. Our whole last CD, all the guitars were just straight through that into a clean amp. So that's kind of not looking to retire it completely, but I did just recently take it off of my board. And then so let's go to my pedals. Pedal board is kind of looked like this for a little while. Just recently making some changes to it. So I have the custom audio wall. That thing's great. It's got a few different features on it. It's got here. This is a boost. So when you kick in your wah, it has a boost, so you don't have to hit your wah and over here your boost pedal. And then you can adjust how loud here. And then it also has two different voicings of wah, and I prefer the orange one. It's more, I don't know, throaty, I guess. I don't know, I prefer that one. Out of the custom audio, I go straight into a tuner. So that's pretty standard, and then I go into a noise suppressor. And the noise suppressor used to, in these two spots, I used to have a full tone OCD here, and then that Black Star here. So I had two different distortions, and then the Black Star kind of has two distortions on itself. I switched that out. I finally, this is a custom-made amp switcher, so made by Disaster Area, and it's specially made for the EVH 5153, and it's awesome. It's channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and then effects loop on and off. So if that's the light's on, the effects loop is off, so you don't have to stare at purple forever when you most likely are going to have your effects loop on. Yeah, and it's actually way better than the one that comes with the amp. That one apparently has a lot of bad reviews and it breaks a lot. But this guy right here, this is just something I just put in place just recently because I added. Well, we'll get to this guy in a second. So out of this, we go back to the noise, so this is actually, I guess, towards the end of the chain, but normally you would have a distortion pedal in here in the loop of your send and return of your noise suppressor. Out of this guy, we go to the POG. POG is, I mean, everybody knows what a POG is. It's and the micro POG is actually, I feel like, a way better than the full one. At least I know a lot of people use it, and I use it on one of our songs, and it's great. It's good for guitarists and bassists. Anyway, that's a great pedal. Then I go into my Corona Chorus TC Electronics. Basically, every time I'm in clean, I have chorus on. So that's why I have these two together. Just stomp on it once, and that's that. So I come out of dirty channel, come over here, chorus and clean at the same time. Out of the chorus, I think I go to this Phase 90 over here, which I actually don't even use on any of the songs for the band right now, but it's kind of one of those pedals that just, I feel, needs to be on the board, because there's always say that, like, I want to be able to achieve like either a slash tone or like a David Gilmour tone at any given time. And so like the wah here would be slash OCD, that's normally here would give me that classic rock tone, and then David Gilmour always uses that Phase 90. That's a big deal, so that stays there even though I don't really use it for the band. after the Phase 90, it goes over to the carbon copy, and everyone uses the carbon copy. It's a really, really good analog delay, and I mean, you really can't beat it. You want tap tempo and all this other crazy shit, you can do that, but for what we do, the analog delay or the carbon copy really works for us. And out of that, it looks like oh, I might have missed something. Somewhere in that chain, there's this this tremolo, and I use the tremolo just for one song on a Secret Keep, and it's this, you know, I didn't really need anything fancy. I used to have a big old tremolo that had 1,000 knobs, and then I knocked it down to these little ones. I kind of a sucker for these little pedals now. So I use that for one song, and it works really well. It's very versatile. There's this 3-way knob here. There's the obviously the speed here, and then also in the back of the pedal, there's a few different things you can mess with back there. So out of the carbon copy, it goes over to the boost pedal, as you usually want your boost pedal towards the end of your chain after it's gone through all your effects. And then you just want to boost it from there, so it doesn't affect your tone in any weird way. So that's mostly just for solos and shit. I'd be in channel 3, and then I can throw in that for solos. And then at the very end of the chain, I added this, the TC Electronics, the Ditto, which is just a looper pedal, which makes sense. You know, at the very end, if you're going to use a looper pedal, you want it to be at the end, so it catches all of your effects first, and then goes into your looper, and then plays back what you wanted to hear, or the way you played it, right? I just recently added it. I haven't worked it into our live show at all, but I'm looking forward. There's a lot of good uses to this, and yeah, I'll try it out. It could be good for I could throw a backtrack down, and then I can be soloing, and Lance can also be soloing, and we don't have to worry about like a guitar 3 or, you know, something like that. So that's that. And then aside from all of that, this all goes into the front of the amp. And then I also have an effects loop that I use really just for this guy right now. I'm in the process of building just like a little micro board for a few pedals that are going to stay up here. This one being one of them, the Sonic Stomp, which makes this EVH sound so much better. It's kind of ridiculous. It goes great in the effects loop. It really gives it that low end that I feel like the 5150 lacks, as at least compared to like the dual rectifier or something like that, some of the standard metal amps. This guy really fills in that bottom end, and it's really tight, and it's really pretty. Not really noticeable when it's clean, but on your dirty channel it makes a huge difference. So this guy stays on in the effects loop. This guy will be added on to just like a little mini board. This guy, just a little bit of reverb, because the 5150 doesn't have any reverb. So just I'll have it set to whatever setting, because you know these things are programmable. And then just have it on low and have it always on. And then I'll probably put like an EQ somewhere in here, just to EQ the guitar before it gets to the amp, and then I can fine tune things, everything else from here. Other than that, that's about it. Oh yeah, let's go back to this little green guy here. The reason I put this guy in here, even though I said I'm trying to use amp distortion now, is that I kind of found out the hard way that the amp distortion is since it's no longer a pedal right here in the chain, it's coming from back there. So when I want to do a loop on something, it's looping just a clean guitar signal that later gets pushed into the amp. So if I record something in clean, then it's going to play in clean, and then if I change channels, it's going to do that same thing now through the blue channel or through the red channel. So it doesn't exactly work. If I want to do a clean backtrack and then a dirty solo on top of it, so what I did was I just threw this little guy, which I think it's called like the Green Mile or something like that. It's a good crunch channel, overdrive, and just so I can have some bite, so I can play David Gilmour type solo over a clean track or something like that. If in the event I even use this thing, which it's really good for practice, so I would recommend this highly to any guitarists who are just looking to improve on their lead work and stuff. Throw down a track and then let it go, and you can add as many tracks as you want on top of it. Just layer and layer and layer, and then you can just noodle around on top with leads and stuff like that. But that's what this guy is for. And I kind of just threw all this crap together recently, so it looks messy, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna fix that up, whenever I have time, because it looks like it's kind of crazy right now, but it works for me. Anyway, that is basically my rig rundown in the band. And yeah, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks, guys. Bye.